Inscription of the Sunda Portugal. Agreement or Padrão Sunda Calapa is an inscription in the form of a stone monument padrão, which was discovered in 1918 in Batavia, Dutch East Indies. This inscription marks the agreement between the Kingdom of Sunda and the Kingdom of Portugal, which was made by the Portuguese trade envoy from Malacca led by Henrique Leme, and brought goods for the King of Samian meaning Sangyang, namely Sanghyang Surwiza, Prince who was the leader of the Sunda King's envoys. Padrão was founded on land designated as a place to build forts and warehouses for the Portuguese. This inscription was rediscovered when excavations were carried out to build the foundations for a warehouse at the corner of Prinsenstraat, now Jalan Senki, and Groenestrat Jalan Kali Besar Timora, now including Taman Sari District, West Jakarta. The Padrão is now kept at the National Museum of the Republic of Indonesia, while a replica is on display at the Jakarta History Museum. In the early 16th century, important trading ports on the north coast, the island of Java, was controlled by the Demak Sultanate and the Banten Sultanate, including Banten and Cirebon. Worried about Demak's naval attack on the port of Sunda Calapa, the king of Sunda, Sri Baduga Prabu Siliwangi, seeking assistance to ensure the continuity of his kingdom's main port, the choice fell on Portugal, who at that time only controlled Malacca in 1511. Thus, in 1512 and 1521, Sri Baduga sent the crown prince, Surwiza, to Malacca to ask Portugal to sign a trade agreement, especially pepper, and gave the right to build a fort in Sunda Calapa. In 1522, the Portuguese were ready to form a coalition with the Sundanese to gain access to the profitable pepper trade. That year coincided with the completion of Magellan's exploration of the world. The commander of the Malacca fort at that time was Jorge de Albuquerque. That same year he sent a ship, the Snow Sebastião, under the command of Captain Henrique Leme, to Sunda Calapa, accompanied by valuables to be presented to the King of Sunda. Two written sources describe the end of the treaty in detail. The first is an original Portuguese document dating from 1520 to which contains the text of the agreement and the signatures of the witnesses. And the second is the account of events presented by João de Barros in his book Da Asia, printed shortly before 1777-78. According to these historical sources, the Sundanese king warmly welcomed the arrival of the Portuguese. At that time Prabu Surwiza had ascended the throne to replace his father, and Barros called him King Samio. The king of Sunda agreed to a treaty of friendship with the king of Portugal and decided to provide land at the mouth of Celiwung as a landing place for Portuguese ships. Apart from that, the Sunda king promised that if construction of the fort had begun, he would donate 1,000 sacks of pepper to the Portuguese. The contract document was made into copies, one copy for the King of Sunda and another for the King of Portugal, both signed on August 21, 1522. In the agreement document, the witnesses from the Kingdom of Sunda were Padam Tumungo, Samja Deputy, Utre Benegari Ezio Zabander. The meaning is, the Dipertuan Tumangang, the Duke, Treasurer and Harbour Master of Sunda Calapa. Witness from the Portuguese side. As reported by the Porto historian, João de Barros, there were 8 people. The witness from the Sunda Kingdom did not sign the document. They legalize it with customs through salvation. Currently, one copy of this agreement is stored in the National Museum of the Republic of Indonesia, while another copy is stored in the Torre do Tombo National Archives, Lisboa. On the day the agreement was signed, several nobles from the Sunda Kingdom, together with Enrique Lima and his entourage, went to the land that would become the defensive fort at the mouth of Siliwangi. They erected a stele, called Padrao, in the area that is now the corner of Jalan Sengki and Jalan Kali Besar Murai, West Jakarta. It was the custom of the Portuguese to establish Padraos when they discovered new lands. The Portuguese failed to fulfill their promise to return to Sunda Kelapa the following year to build a fort due to problems in Goa, India. It was this agreement that triggered the Demak Sultanate army's attack on Sunda Kelapa in 1527 and succeeded in expelling the Portuguese from Sunda Kelapa on June 22, 1527. This date later became the founding day of Jakarta. This Padrao is made of stone 165 centimeters high. At the top of this inscription there is an image of a globe or malarium with the equator and 5 parallel lines of latitude. This coat of arms was frequently used during the reign of Kings Manuel I and João III of Portugal. Above the symbol is an image of a small trefoil, which is a plant with 3 leaves. On the first line of the inscription, there is a cross symbol, and below it is the writing DSPOR, which is an abbreviation of Do Senhorio de Portugal, ruler of Portugal. On the next 2 lines there is the writing Esferagmo, which is an abbreviation of Esfera do Mundo, world ball, or Espera do Mundo, world hope. The Portuguese came to Pajajaran several times, namely in 1512, 1521, 1522, and 1529. 1512 and 1521, Surawiza, the second king of Pajajaran, visited Malacca. 1522, Henry Lima leads the arrival of the Portuguese to Pajajaran. Pajajaran welcomed the arrival of the Portuguese to help deal with Demak's expansion. 1526, Pajajaran loses the port of Banten. 1527, Duarte Culo led the Portuguese fleet to Sunda Kelapa, but the port was already controlled by Demak Sirban. 1529, the Portuguese prepare ships to Padu to gather new forces. Relations between Pajajaran and the Portuguese were cordial, among other things. His Majesty Sri Baduga Maharaja, King of Pajajaran, often exchanged envoys with the Portuguese. His Majesty Sri Baduga Maharaja called his country the Kingdom of Sunda when exchanging envoys with the Portuguese. Pajajaran and the Portuguese signed an agreement to establish a trading base in Sunda Kelapa. Pajajaran gave 1,000 sacks of pepper to the Portuguese within a year. The Portuguese were given permission to build a fort at Kelapa Harbor. Every Portuguese ship that landed in Malacca would be given a cargo of pepper, which was then exchanged for goods needed for Pajajaran. Tompires once visited the Pajajaran kingdom, which at that time was called Pakuan Pajajaran. This Portuguese explorer wrote about his experiences in a travelogue entitled Suma Oriental. Here are some things that Tompires wrote about the Pajajaran kingdom. The Pajajaran kingdom is a safe and peaceful country. The Sunda king ruled fairly and wisely. The Sunda king was a devout person who worshipped and was surrounded by religious experts. Sundanese people are known as superior warriors and sailors. The Pajajaran kingdom was able to sell rice, vegetables, animals, and slaves. The king had 4,000 horses and 40 elephants. Pires also mention the city of Deo, where the king spent most of the year. Tompires also noted that in the Pajajaran area there is already a Muslim community, especially in Chimanak, a port city that was the border of the Sunda kingdom to the east. Friends, that is the history of the Pajajaran kingdom's agreement with the Portuguese. The interesting story of the Indonesian people is known to the world. The past, as a form of gratitude, we must respect history, who has carved in the country. Thank you for watching this video from start to finish, and if you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.